Greetings of the day. I am Rosa Kiran from MBA department. First of all, I thank MITS Radio for giving this wonderful opportunity. And today's presentation is about design thinking. So the flow of presentation follows as like this. In the first part, we are going to discuss about introduction to design thinking. In the second, we are going to discuss about core principles of design thinking. And third, empathize with the user. And fourth concept, define the problem. And fifth, generate the ideas. And sixth, prototype. And the last one is test. At the end of this session, we are going to discuss with the case study. So let me begin with what is design thinking. So design thinking is a mindset and approach to the problem solving and innovation anchored around human-centered design. Design thinking is different from other innovations and ideation process in that it's solution based and user centric rather than problem based. So design thinking is about human centric. So designing innovative solutions which will enhance or which will reduce the problem and which will provide the solution to the users. And whole design thinking concept is based on users satisfaction. So what are the core principles of design thinking? From this we can say that the core principles include 5 principles. The first one is empathize with your user. The second one, define the problem. And the third one, generate ideas. Fourth, prototype. And fifth one, testing. So let us see one by one. So first, empathize the user. So this means understanding the needs and wants of your target consumers. You need to put yourself in their shoes and see things from their perspectives. By doing this, you can create products and services that genuinely meet their needs. Now, most of the people get confused with sympathy and empathy. So, sympathy means thinking other pain in your point of view. But whereas empathy is one more level greater than sympathize. So, empathize means understanding the problem of others in their point of view. In the sense, we are putting ourselves in the shoes of others so that we can get the pain of the user more in depth. So the first step of design thinking process is, first of all, we should empathize the user so that we can understand his problem. So without empathizing, we cannot get the clarity about the problem, so that the solution is also not clear. So second step is definition of problem. Problem statements are definitions of the actual problems faced by the consumers or people and reframing them in human-centric ways. The process of the defined problem statement is the part of second stage of the design thinking process. This stage is preceded by a phase called empathize, which involves the identification and observation of problems your users are facing. So the clarity about the problem is the major thing. Why? Because we cannot get a clarity of, or we cannot get a clear solution without understanding the problem. So a problem statement which will directly address the problem or pain of the users is mandatory. So definition of the problem statement is the most important step in all the principles of design thinking. And third one is ideation. In this phase, you will explore and come up with as many ideas as possible. Some of these ideas will go on to be potential solutions to your design challenge. Some will end up on the reject pile. At this stage, the focus is on the number of ideas rather than the quality. The main aim of ideation session is to uncover and explore new angles and avenues to think outside the box. So in previously we had empathized the user and we have defined the problem, and we need to get the solutions to the problem, and getting the single solution at an instant is not possible in design thinking. We have to get, or we have to collect number of ideas. So in this phase, whether the idea works or not is secondary, but the quantity of ideas is should be more. Why? Because from getting more number of ideas, we can sort out which idea is the best. So here in this stage, quality is not superior when compared to quantity. And the next fourth important step of design thinking is prototype. A prototype is a basic experimental model of a proposed solution that is used to quickly and cost effectively test and validate ideas and design assumptions and other aspects of its conceptualization. This allows the designers involved to make appropriate refinements or changes in the direction if necessary. So, the solution we had generated previously number of ideas, and we have to prototype or create some model for the solution. So we cannot directly get into the market by designing the problem, by designing the product. Why? Because we have to create a prototype or model and test whether it works or not. So before commercializing the product, we should create a model or called prototype to test whether it works or whether it addresses the problem or not. And the fifth one is test. The testing stage of design thinking process helps product and development teams evaluate their concepts and prototypes for a solution. It's an experimental and often repeated stage that creates opportunities to see how customers interact with solutions in real life. That way, you know if products fit customer needs or solve real problems before you invest further. As I previously explained, before commercializing the model, we need to test. Why? Because with a lot of hopes, we may create the model and we may commercialize it, but if it is unable to address the real problem of the customers, obviously the product will be a failure. So after creating the prototype, we have to select or we have to do some pilot project on some of the segment of the customers, so that we have to test whether the product will address the real problem or whether the product is giving a perfect solution or not. We need to test. So let us discuss one case study which is related to design thinking, which perfectly explain the design thinking. So from this slide, you can see that one baby in the incubator. So before entering into the case study, I want to explain some of the realistic stats about the baby's birth rate. Each year, about 15 crores premature and low weight babies are born, and millions of babies were died within 24 hours of their birth. The reason for this is hypothermia. Now, what is hypothermia? So it is a medical term which means that babies which are born with low fat, for example, if they face any cold outside the room, that cold will be converted into heat by reduction of the fat inside the body. So if the babies are born with fat, they cannot able to reduce the temperature, they have to suffer. So because of that reason, when normal room temperature will look like a refrigerator temperature for the newly born babies, because of their low weight or low fat. This type of disorder is termed as hypothermia. Because of this hypothermia, a lot of babies were died after their birth. So the real solution now, the present solution that the hospitals offer for this hypothermia is that incubators. So that's why newly born babies are put in the incubators to fight with this hypothermia disorder. But it costs nearly 10,000 to 20,000 per day. So it is somewhat very costly for the middle class and lower class people. So they are in dilemma. So our students, like for example, the people who are into the design thinking were thought of one idea. So can we create an incubator like system that will reduces this hypothermia disorder at low cost? This is the thing or problem which they want to address. So they are in dilemma whether to design a low cost incubator for hospital use, or to tackle the human needs designing a solution for the mothers in the remote areas. Finally, they decided to go with the hardest change of creating a solution for mothers in remote area. So instead of creating another hospital incubator, they reframed the design challenge as how might we create a baby warming device that helps parents in remote village, gives their dying infants a chance to survive. So they decided. So the design thinkers of this team want to create an incubator like thing for the remote area people. Why? Because the remote area people cannot stay weeks and months in hospitals by keeping their baby in incubators. Why? Because they will lose their income. So the design thinking team decided to create another thing that will replace the usage of this hospital incubator. So our research team or our design thinking team has taken up the challenge, and they had created this one, that is Embrace. The people who created this are these people: Naganand Murthy, Linus Ling, Rahul Panikar, and Jane CH. So they designed one product, pouch like product, a bag like product, which will replace the incubator for the remote area people, and they named the company as Embrace Company. So how this will work? This will work. So there will be a preset temperature in the bag, so that the temperature will be nearly left for 4 hours. So by keeping the baby inside that bag, the temperature will be more, so the hypothermia disorder will be overcome by this bag. So the people cannot, the babies or the families need not to stay in the hospital for weeks and days and months for this process. So they can go to their home, their family can work, and the baby can be placed in the pouch like preset temperature, where the preset temperature will be there, and the babies will grow happily. So this product may be the replacement for the incubator, and it costs very less. So this is simple case study which we can explain the design thinking concept. So I thank MITS Radio for giving this wonderful opportunity, and thank you very much.